Hello. Hello. Check. 1, 2, 3. Hello. 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 Check. 1, 2, 3. Hello. Check. 1, 2, 3. Check. Hello. Check. 1, 2, 3.
So very good morning to all of you, and thank you all for waiting so patiently. And it is my absolute privilege today to wish you greetings on World Alzheimer's Day 2023, where across the globe we gather to support people living with dementia, their families and their communities. For us, it's also almost a dream come true. For many of us in this room who have spent days, months and years either living with dementia or caring for people with dementia, or providing professional help, or through NGOs, or just friends of people with dementia, and policymakers who have worked so hard to improve public health for people with dementia. It is only with the leadership of our Honorable Health Minister, Sri Dinesh Gundu Rao, that all of us stakeholders have come together today. Stars have aligned, and with this, we are beginning a very synchronous and collaborative journey to improve lives of people living with dementia. I would now request our beloved director, Professor Pratima Murthy, to lead the dignitaries onto the dais. Wing Commander Colonel Sabarwal, who is a hero, who has cared for his wife and now cares for thousands of people through the books that he writes. Our Honorable Health Minister, Sri Dinesh Gundu Rao, and our absolute support, Randeep Sir, Dr. Radha Murthy, President of Dementia India Alliance, our deans who support us through everything that we do, Dean of Behavioral Sciences, Dr. Prabha Chandra, Dean of Neurosciences, Dr. Yasha, and our Registrar, Dr. B.S. Shankarnarayana Rao. I now request Professor Shivakumar, Professor of Geriatric Psychiatry, to deliver the welcome address.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. Good morning, everyone. It's indeed a very important occasion for all of us who work for dementia and work for dementia care, and including family members, caregivers, and professionals. This is a momentous occasion for us to come together for this cause today. And every year, September 21st is observed as a World Alzheimer's Day, and the entire month of September is also observed as a World Alzheimer's Month. And we do series of activities, but this is unique in the sense that we have a synchrony with the government organization, government of health, because anything we have to take the health to the people, we need the support of the government. And government of Karnataka, the Department of Health and Family Welfare is a very, very proactive, and particularly with respect to mental health, we have a lot of models developed, and we have support of the Health and Family Welfare Government of Karnataka, and leading institutes who are working for dementia. NIMHANS has multidisciplinary team which is working, and we are there along with the NGO, Dementia India Alliance. We have come together for this program. It is my privilege and proud to welcome everyone. And Sri Dinesh Gundu Rao, our Honorable Health Minister, Government of Karnataka, Minister of Health and Family Welfare, Government of Karnataka. When we approached, he immediately gave time, and then he convened a meeting and not only discussing about this important issue, and he also actually declared it open in the Twitter. I think that set the ball rolling for actually people noticing it, and then we are able to actually have this program today. Thank you very much, sir, for all the support and guidance, and we would look forward to your support in the future to take this initiative further. And we would like to welcome Dr. Pratima Murthy, our Director, NIMHANS, and she has always been the supporting force for us, and bringing together all the multidisciplinary team. So we have more than 10 departments contributing to the dementia care and training research, and all of us have come together with the guidance of Director. Thank you very much, Madam, and I welcome you on behalf of the organizing committee. And our Mr. Sri D. Randeep, our Commissioner of Health and Family Welfare, Government of Karnataka. So he has been instrumental in kind of discussing about the nitty-gritties of all the health programs what we are collaborating, and he has always been very supportive for any initiatives with respect to mental health. Thank you very much, sir, for making the time and coming here. We have, in NIMHANS, we have behavioral sciences and neurological sciences along with the basic sciences. We have both the deans, Dr. Prabha Chandra, our Dean for Behavioral Sciences, and Dr. Yasha, Dean for Neurosciences, which actually subsumes a lot of services and training and research what is happening. And thank you very much, madam, for both of you for accepting our invitation and coming and raising this occasion. The most important person in this is Mr. D.P. Sabharwal, who is, I think, for all of us, even professionals, the most important person who teaches is the caregiver. And we learn a lot from them, because many of the things, what is there in textbooks or what is actually preached. But when it comes to real life implementation, listening from the caregivers actually teaches us every day. And every person's story is different. And Mr. Sabharwal has been an advocate for dementia care, and he has been a carer, and he has spent his life for many years, and also vocal about how this is to improve. Thank you very much, sir, for coming, and we look forward to your inputs. And all these things without the support of Dr. Radhamurthy, who has been instrumental in forming the Dementia India Alliance, bringing together caregiver organization, NGOs, institutions, and connecting with the government. And I think she is very, very resourceful, and in terms of having this kind of vision and having but a practical experience of more than 25 years. I think they are reaching the 25th year shortly. And we thank you very much, and we welcome you for being instrumental to this program. And our registrar, Dr. Shankar Narayan Rao, has always been there as in terms of our administration support. I would like to welcome all the key officials from the Health Department, Government of Karnataka. Our Director of Health is there, and all the faculty and staff and various departments we have from NIMHANS, and all the caregivers and senior citizens who have actually make time and come for this program, and students and volunteers, and a lot of people who are interested, including from NGOs, Rotary Club, and various other collaborators who has also come, and the media. There are people who are behind this program, a lot of people in terms of our collaborators, and then BME, various people, everybody. I welcome one and all for this program. Look, I also take this opportunity to kind of bear with you have kind of waited for some time. Sorry for that, but I think we will try to be brief as much as possible. Thank you very much, and I welcome you one and all.
Thank you, Dr. Shivakumar, for this very warm welcome. To begin this journey auspiciously, we would like the dignitaries, stakeholders, collaborators, all to light the lamp, to evoke empathy, ignite knowledge towards this collaborative journey. We have Wing Commander Colonel Sabharwal, who holds the candle and represents all the caregivers. I request the dignitaries to light the lamp from the candle that is being held by Wing Commander Colonel Sabharwal.
Shubham kurutvam kalyanam arogyam dhana sampada. Shubham kurutvam kalyanam arogyam dhana sampada. Shatru buddhi vinashaya dipajyotir namostute. Dipajyotir namostute. Dipajyotir parabrahma. Dipajyotir janardanah. Dipajyotir parabrahma. Dipajyotir janardanah. Dipo hartu me papam. Sandhya dipa namostute. O dipa brahma rupasvam. Jyotisham prabhuravyayah. O dipa brahma rupasvam. Jyotisham prabhuravyayah. Arogyam dehi putrasya. Patim swachham hi me sada. Ravirastam samarabhya. Yavat suryodayo bhavet. Ravirastam samarabhya. Yavat suryodayo bhavet. Yasya tishte gruhe deepa. Tasya nasti daridrata. Shubham kurutvam kalyanam arogyam dhana sampada. Shubham.
Good afternoon, everybody. Truly happy to introduce Dr. Radha S. Murthy, President of Dementia India Alliance and Managing Trustee, Nightingale's Medical Trust. With a brilliant academic career and over 30 years of medical experience, Dr. Radha has established herself as an eminent doctor who believes in humane and personalized care. She is also a recipient of Rajyotsava Award. Over to you, ma'am.
Good morning to all of you. Oh, it's nearly good afternoon to all of you. And today, World Alzheimer's Day is more special, especially for people with dementia as well as the families. Our health minister will be announcing shortly a great news, which will bring a great help not only to, I said, to the families too. Now, I was asked to talk about the needs. Why is it necessary to have this? Now, going to my personal one, because I have seen this personally. From 1996, I have been doing this home health services through Nightingale's home health services. And I was able to interact with not only the patients, but also with the families. To tell you the thing, I have seen nearly about 30,000 families in the past 20 years. This gives me a great insight into what's really happening. I mean, it is not book things, but I have seen so many of them. And I have seen what is the needs. In the beginning of my service, I could see just a few, one or two, that's all I could pick up. But as the years went by, I could see the numbers increase, the awareness, maybe because of the awareness and also the amount of stress that the family was going on. Now, when I interacted with them, I found that it was not only the patient. Let me tell you, it is not only the persons who are suffering with dementia, but it is also the families who are surrounding that, who face this. I think there are many of the caregivers here who know about this, because we really do not know how it is. I seen play in many of the houses. There's a great strained relationship also between the husband and wife because a person with dementia, because they get neither time to go out or spend time with themselves. So there is so much of thing in a family. You also can see that inability to look after them. There's a smaller room, person is wandering, they do not know how to take care. There are not enough services. And where are the other things to ask for? There's no information, there is no awareness. Also a stigma attached to the whole thing. Keeping all this in mind, we felt that though, I mean, in a smaller way, which I am talking about, because understanding this sort of dementia, we have been working since a long time in this area. I can come back to what is really prevalent, but as a person who is in close touch, we felt we could do something toward this, because once you're diagnosed, what is next? Are we going to just leave them alone there? Is there going to be a continuum of care? Or is there going to be some sort of a place where they could get something? That's how we started 3 daycare centers and 3 residential care centers. Now, I think that the inauguration of one of our centers, the biggest center, the Nightingale's Aging and Alzheimer's Day Center, was, our health minister was part of it. So I hope you remember that. So from that 2010, I have even closely seen people with dementia, because we have a 100-bedded facility. People come in, and I have seen with my own eyes how much struggle the person who comes along with it. I go on stressing about families, because I know persons suffer. I understand the patient suffers, but equally, the families suffer. We have to find an answer for this. How do we find an answer? And you all know that it is irreversible. It is chronic, and people are very much dependent on everybody. So take care is very, very important. And after this, I also feel, how do we fill up the gap? It's a very difficult question, because all of us have to come together. It is not one person who comes together. We have to think about various people to come together to solve this problem. One is, now coming to at present what is happening. you have to see that today there are about 88 lakhs of people, that is about 7.4% of people have dementia. And no, it is just not 88 lakhs, it is along with it 88 lakh families who are with us. And Karnataka, sir, it is about 7.6. It's a little higher than the normal thing. So it's about 7.6, which is having dementia. And by 2036, now when it is 88 lakhs, by 2036, it will be around 1.7 crores. It's a big number. So it's not just numbers that we're talking about, we're also talking about how to set up all these services when everything is not enough. The challenges faced, I just give it to you just in a short thing, is like low awareness. Why is it that we are not able to do this? Because it's a low awareness. People do not understand this disease. Stigma, people do not want to talk about it. I have seen a place in the family where the Allaiance was did not go through because the grandfather had dementia. So that stigma is attached. People do not want to talk about mental health. There is also very few memory clinics, very few memory clinics wherein they can get an early diagnosis. And then coming to the few experts, so NIMHANS is one of the things which are brilliant experts. But how many experts are there all over the country to look into this number? And to tell you the thing is, 90% have still not been diagnosed. So you can imagine the numbers. What we're just talking is just the 10% which I am talking about. And there's dearth of services. Where can you find? Because Karnataka is full, because they understand. We have any number of daycares, we have residential care, but it's pocketed. It's not in all the states. Then the high cost of care. Let me tell you, this is the most important thing in this, because a person has to give up their work to look after this person, and all the cost is from their own pocket. I think we have to find ways and means of how to support this particular issue. So this is how we formed, in a small way, we started this Dementia India Alliance, which we got together people who, and Nightingale's Medical Trust is just spearheading it, but we joined hands with like-minded people, caregivers, and NIMHANS is part of us. So this is the alliance which we are trying to see whether we could close this gap and have continuum of care too. Now all this done, I know we are trying our best to do something, but without government policy, nothing can move. So we really look into, because unless the state is involved or the thing is involved, nothing can move through, especially when we want to do awareness, or if you want to do training, where are the caregivers? Where are the caregivers who are professional caregivers to look after them? So all this, we need really the state to take up these policies. The other thing I wanted to say, in other countries, yes, there are, things are in place, but I'm sure one of these days, definitely, we will come out with this particular plan. Now, recognizing that we need the government policy, what we did is we went to Delhi along with NIMHANS, met the chief advisor to the government of India, scientific advisors to the government of India, met people in the health department, met Niti Aayog. But all what they said is, yes, we know that it is very important, dementia, but there are other pressing issues, but start it from your state level. Once the state gets attuned to this, definitely we can probably a national policy will come through. So we are hoping that it will happen once our state is done. I won't take much time, sir. And also what I would like to say is that we all have got together, NIMHANS and ourselves, and I'm sure after coming from Delhi, I think we first went to the health minister. Now, as soon as we met him, he understood the problem. He did understand the problem, and with all of us, our Department of Mental Health, NIMHANS and ourselves went to him, and immediately he said that this should be addressed. Now, later he will come up to this thing. So thank you so much, sir, for taking this up. And so with this, I will stop this, and thank you all, and I'm sure we assure you that we will do our best and see that it is implemented. It is not good. He made it very clear. Don't make it just a policy. see that it is implemented and helps people with dementia. So we definitely will help you, sir. And thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for highlighting the need. Now I am truly delighted to introduce Wing Commander Sabawal Ji, an engineer by training, Air Force officer by profession, teacher and trainer by aptitude, writer by passion, and social worker by choice. He looked after his wife suffering from Alzheimer's for 12 years and since 2017 has been involved in spreading awareness about the disease and has written 2 books on this subject. He is founder, chairperson of ADRAG India, that is Alzheimer's Dementia Rotary Action Group. So, sir, over to you to share your thoughts.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Now, there are many life-threatening diseases like cancer, AIDS, HIV, etc. Now, from all these diseases, even from the terminal stage, patients have recovered, come back and told how difficult and how bad it was to live with that disease. But there's only one disease in the world, as on today, which has got no cure. No single person has recovered from it to talk about how difficult and bad it is, and that is dementia, Alzheimer's to be in particular. It's people like me who have looked after their near and dear ones. As told, I looked after my wife for about 12 years. I won't say looked after. I underwent that, what this Alzheimer's was along with her, and probably what she suffered. I can say I suffered much more than that. And that is true for every caregiver. Now, it takes very long to detect. She got at the age of 52, 18 years back, and the situation is not much better today. Even now it takes about 2 to 3 years. By the time a patient is in the advanced stage, that is the time it is detected. Why? Because people don't come out with it. Last 5 years, I have given about more than 200 talks on Zoom and physical, telling people what Alzheimer's is, what are the symptoms, please accept it. Believe me, during the talk, nobody asks a question. Once almost everybody has gone, then 1 or 2 person will trickle in. Sir, I think there is a case in our family. I say, why didn't you tell earlier? As Dr. Radha said, there is a taboo in our society. I ask everybody, any other disease happen, do we hide it? 2 years back, I had cancer. I think I told everybody I'm suffering from cancer to get good wishes. Why to hide Alzheimer's? Now, though there is no cure, a person has to suffer. But my idea is, once early detection is there, if nothing else, the life of the patient becomes better. Because I know for about first 3 to 4 years till it was confirmed, and even after that 2 years, it took a lot of mental thing to accept that she is mentally deranged. I always used to feel angry, irritated, even raise my voice, what are you doing? What's the wrong with you? So once we know it's Alzheimer dementia, we know a stage was there in my house in 6 rooms, drawing room, bedroom, dining, kitchen, corridor. I put posters. She's not doing on purpose. Now this is what I want to appeal to everybody. Please, if there is somebody your near and dear ones, get him or her checked up. There's nothing wrong, it's a mental disease. You haven't caused it, so don't feel bad about it. It's one of those things which have to be tackled. The various problems Dr. Radha Murthy has mentioned, we in Dementia India Alliance are aware of it, and we'll take all the efforts to overcome that. All the best.
Thank you, sir, for your absolutely inspiring thoughts. And indeed, this is our endeavor. We do not want another person to suffer. We will really work towards making a difference to people who have held on for so long. And how do we do that? So the World Health Organization, in all its wisdom, has said that every nation has to have a global action plan for dementia. Nothing is possible unless it happens regionally, locally, and near your home. So with the experience of so many professionals, caregivers, families, based on research that all of us have engaged with to identify what will really work, and hours of discussion, years of thought, we've come up with the draft action plan for people living with dementia in Karnataka. And no one better than Professor Pratima Murthy to present the draft action plan to all of us today.
ಮೊದಲು ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಈಗ ತಾನೇ ಗೌರಿ ಗಣೇಶ ಆಗಿದೆ, so all good wishes to everybody on the auspicious occasion of Gauri Ganesha. I'm also delighted that we've had the privilege of having our Honorable Health Minister Shri Gundu Rao here for the second time in 2 months. So I think that's really very nice. And I think that also speaks of his commitment to causes like this. So what I'm going to do, to try and do, is to tell you what this draft action plan is going to look like and what might be the areas in which commitment is required from the state, mostly in terms of driving this cause. And I have no hesitation, because Karnataka has been a leader in many areas in healthcare. So I'm quite confident that many of these are actionable, because that's very important. But before I go into the draft health, the plan for dementia, I think it's very important that all of us understand how important it is to care for those who have cared for us. And that's possibly the highest honor we can ever have in our lives. And that really emphasizes the importance of caring. And many of us, Dr. Radha has shared her own personal experience with actually running organizations which have been involved in caring, from daycare to residential care. Mr. Sabarwal has so poignantly told us about how it has been such a challenge, right from lack of awareness and stigma to the actual kinds of problems that people go through. Very often, many of these cognitive problems, behavioral problems, emotional problems are mistaken by people as pretending, and because people don't understand this disease. So there are so many aspects. I was also very troubled. Sir, I went to Taiwan, and I'm sure many of my colleagues have also. I know P.T. Shivkumar has been there. Several colleagues have been there. There are fantastic dementia villages. Very, very well endowed, lots of money going into it. Lots of facilities are available. But when you actually talk to people, there is an immense sense of sadness because their families have all moved away from them. So I think we're talking about how in our country, where our biggest asset are our families and carers within families, how is it that we can make this disorder something that the person with dementia can live with, and people who are carers for dementia can also manage to live with. So we are looking eagerly forward to your announcement about the fact that dementia is a public health priority, because as people age, the risk to dementia increases, and therefore to acknowledge, first of all, dementia in the public health space becomes very, very important. And of course, this collaboration with multiple stakeholders, there can't be a better example of how many different people have come here together. The state government has come here, an organization like NIMHANS, Dr. Alladi mentioned that 30 professionals working in the area of dementia, right from genetics to clinical services and rehabilitation and nursing, representing 10 different academic departments, are here today. The state government is here in full force. We have the Dementia India Allaiance, several other organizations like the Rotary who are involved. There are people who are carers who are here with us. There are people who are using services which are small and sporadic but nevertheless available who are here with us. So truly this is a multiple stakeholder. The media is there with us. Again, a very, very important partner to tell us about this, and therefore it becomes very important to take this action plan forward from a draft to reality. The team here at NIMHANS, along with the DIA, has been trying to create Friends of Dementia, And many people have already signed up. Can we have a show of hands as to how many of you have signed up as dementia friends? So there you go. So they've all written on the wall, they've signed up their commitment not only to improve awareness about dementia, but champion the cause of dementia, and also make sure that all hospitals also become dementia friendly. And one action point would be to really make sure that public places, and this is a point that the Honorable Health Minister himself has actually told us, how do we make sure people don't get lost, particularly in public spaces? So that becomes very important. And of course, we should have a very inclusive dementia support policy. Obviously, you cannot find people with dementia if you don't look for it. Dr. Radha mentioned one particular statistics of 10%, but when our community, the Karnataka Brain Health Initiative group went in, only about 5% of people with dementia were actually identified. Therefore, it becomes very, very important to improve the identification, because it's only when you do early interventions that you can get the best results. Therefore, perhaps we're looking at screening all people above 60 years of age, people with NCDs, non-communicable diseases like diabetes, hypertension, cancer, respiratory diseases, mental health disorders, who are more prone to cognitive dysfunction, as well as substance use disorders, so that we can look for early cognitive impairment in them. And we obviously need to, 40% of cases which progress on to develop dementia can be prevented by addressing the risk factors for dementia. And therefore, that becomes very, very important. Paying more attention to high-risk groups becomes important. And therefore, perhaps, what we can initiate is a common screening for mental, neurological, and substance use disorders, right from the district mental health program, home-based evaluations, in our NCD programs, in the Brain Health Initiative, in all of these programs, and also promote healthy aging, which is something that we don't focus on. As young adults, we focus a lot on exercise and diet and supplementation, but as we grow older, either our interest in it becomes reduced, or we ourselves cannot pay attention to it. And therefore, it's very, very important to look at promoting healthy aging through diet, exercise, yoga, any other form of mental stimulation as well, to make sure that we decelerate the aging process. One of the themes of the World Alzheimer's Association is doubling impact. And therefore, even if we can double the impact from the existing 5% to 10%, that itself is going to be a very, very important goal in the diagnosis of dementia. And we do it through the existing clinics that we already have. We also have, things like the DEM clinic, which has been developed as an online tool by Dr. Radha and her team, which can also be used in various situations. Home and palliative care becomes the most important bulwark of any kind of program that we can look for, particularly in the area of dementia, because people don't come to the facilities. We have to go to them. And of course, one of the other things is that there is a sense among people not to, especially when they're much older, not to waste money on treatment. And I think that's something that we need to convince people that our elderly are a very important resource in our communities, and be able to provide them the best possible home care and palliative care. And this obviously involves a lot of capacity building. I know that my colleagues have tried to develop a training center to train people who can provide home-based care for persons with dementia. We need to train ASHA workers, we need to train other health professionals, as well as every community worker, and even the friends who are going to be here need some degree of training to be able to identify and provide support services. So we can use teleneurology. You just saw the Telemanas stall 14416, where people can call and get help. There are dementia support lines, but we need to publicize these so that more and more people can use it. Finally, it has to be person-centered. And what better acronym than CARE for people with dementia? For the persons with dementia, the C standing for improving their memory power, their behavior, their mobility, to make sure that they're independently taking their activities of daily living, to make sure that there is rehabilitation that's provided, and that there is suitable environmental modification to meet their psychological and social needs. For those of us who studied a textbook called Leishman, which was on organic disorders, there are 3 principles of management for the care of persons with cognitive functions like dementia. One is to prevent any further loss of function, which means if hypertension produces clots in the brain, make sure you control the high blood pressure, etc. The second thing is to make sure people continue to be independent by preserving whatever intact functions they have. So if they're able to eat by themselves, they should be encouraged to eat by themselves. Whatever they can do must be preserved. And the third thing is to compensate for the lost function. If they have visual impairment, how do you compensate? If they have auditory impairment, how do you compensate? So that's the principle, and that can very easily be followed by the psychosocial interventions that are given. Unfortunately, in terms of medical interventions, we're still not there yet. None of them, there are some cognitive enhancers, but there is no promise in any of these. So we still rely on very powerful psychosocial interventions that can be provided. And what can I say for the caregivers? It is so important to provide them care assistance so they can be, we can enable them as caregivers and they don't get burnt out. It's important that they learn to accept. That's something that Mr. Sabharwal said. How do you accept this condition as something that is occurring and is not brought on by the person themselves? R is for resilience. How do we make caregivers be in a frame of mind where they don't feel depressed, anxious, stressed out? And of course, caregiver education. But most importantly, I'd add an S there for support to the caregivers so that they are able to look after the persons with dementia. A dementia registry must be there in every country. So Karnataka can make a start with having a dementia registry, having a dementia service tracker, which we spoke about, having a good health information management system, which includes dementia cases as well, and having a good database for resources so that people don't have to scramble in every direction or the other, and they can get valuable help where it's easily available. We have to improve diagnosis and treatment. There are now standard guidelines available from the WHO and other agencies, as well as treatment approaches. We have to devise, of course, and modify these care models so that they're, particularly in rural areas, we may need to change it. And therefore, we need to address both the risk as well as the protective factors. And finally, we need to use innovative technology solutions. One of the things that you yourself suggested was, if a person with dementia goes out, is there some kind of a tracker device that can be available? How people move about in their houses, their sleep rhythms. There are so many innovative technologies that can be used for these purposes. In fact, early diagnosis, you have now retinal scanners which can do those. So there are many things that are available for this kind of early diagnosis as well. So finally, I leave you with some actionable plans for dementia. The first thing is the declaration of dementia as a public health priority, which we are going to do in a few minutes. The second thing from the state government, we hope, will be a good public awareness campaign across the community. The third thing is to ensure that there is screening in high-risk groups, particularly those above 60, those with non-communicable disease, and those with mental health problems. If we can have a target of doubling the diagnosis from 5% to 10% in 3 years, if we can devise a program of caregiver support, which is home-based caregiver assistance, resilience, and education, for 5, financial support to caregivers who lose their income by having to be home becomes a very, very critical thing. And we must find ways of providing that financial support to them. Having a state-wise dementia registry. In research and innovation, we need to implement models of care at the community. And of course, we promote healthy brain and mind aging for overall well-being. So this is an 8-pronged approach, which is a ready plan for the state. And I hope the state will be able to take up. Most of the things are doable. The only place where I see there can be some resources involved is in the training, is in the providing of assistance, rehabilitative measures, and financial support for carers who are not able to get a sustained living. So with this, I am very, very confident that we will have a wonderful plan which looks at preventing as well as helping people with dementia and a continuum of care. I'm sure I speak on behalf of all my colleagues when I say NIMHANS is very committed to this cause. Lots of people here are committed to this cause and working with NGOs and other alliances, as well as the state government, I'm sure we can make the world a better place for persons with dementia. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam, for your absolutely emphatic clarity and leadership in a path that was complex before we started, but you have made it so clear. Thank you very much, Madam. I now request Dr. Prabhachandra, Dean of Behavioral Sciences. She was in the outpatient department seeing patients and she wanted to be there. She has waited, but we really want to know from her how we can take this journey forward. Thank you.
Dignitaries on the dais, and thanks to the organizers for inviting me. Dr. Radha Murthy said 1.7 crore. Is that the number you mentioned? 1.7 crore is the projection. That's right. So which means that if we have 1.7 crore people who have dementia, we will need at least 3 caregivers for each person for us to be able to at least sustain ourselves and make sure that caregivers get enough support and care, because a single caregiver cannot look after a person with dementia for so long. I just want to emphasize the point 5 that our director, Dr. Pratima Murthy, mentioned, and that is about caregiver support. I think if we need to put money somewhere, we need to put our money into caregiver support. I think that's something that we really need to emphasize, because if we want the persons who are living with dementia to live in dignity, we mentioned that they cared for us, and so we have to care for them. And it's so important to give it back to them with the same kind of dignity and the same kind of love that they looked after us. I think caregiver support is very important. Just want to give you a small example of a struggle. Last week, one of my aunts who has dementia was getting aggressive. She didn't want a diaper. She was threatening her caregiver. I wanted to talk to the caregiver and explain to her how she can look after and what was happening to my aunt, who was otherwise a very smart, independent woman, didn't want a diaper. I was looking for resources in Kannada, some short talks in Kannada or about how to manage behavior problems in people with dementia. Believe me, I did not find a single resource. I struggled, I asked all my colleagues. There were a lot of complex resources on dementia, but nothing which I can give a Kannada speaking caregiver, nurse, to say, hig madi, ee tara nodkoli, this is why she's having a problem, avrige kivi saliya kelsta illa, that is why she's having a problem. So I have a feeling that we really need to focus on developing local resources, simple things which may not cost too much money, but put all our money into training. A lot of our money into training caregivers. There are some people in the audience here, I know, who are nodding as I'm speaking, that, it is a challenge to look after persons with dementia. Families depend on them thinking they are trained, but they are not trained to manage so many challenges. Each person with dementia may have a hearing problem, may have a visual problem, may be frail. One person with dementia is not like the other one. Somebody is withdrawn, somebody is aggressive. I think a very good, solid training program is what is the need for the day, so that we can ensure that persons with dementia, our dear relatives, stay with the same, cared for with the same dignity that they deserve. And I would urge that the government put money into developing these locally available resources, because Karnataka is not only Bangalore. There are people from, other parts of the state who will need these resources, who will not have a NIMHANS, who will not have a Victoria hospital that they can go to. So I think this actionable plan is a very important one, and the item 5, which focuses on home-based caregiver assistance and importantly resilience and education, is one of the priority areas. So I would urge the government to put efforts into this, so that next time when we meet, we have enough resources for our caregivers. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Dementia khayile antivi. Dementia disease is more of a disorder, not just at the individual level or family level, possibly also at the community level. I think that's what we are realizing now. I would now like to request Professor Pratima Murthy, our director, to formally hand over the draft action plan, Dementia Kriya ಯೋಜನೆಯನ್ನು ನಮ್ಮ ಮಾನ್ಯ ಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಸಮರ್ಪಿಸಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ಕೊತೀನಿ. I would also like to request Director Health and Family Welfare Services to join us on stage. So also Dr. PT, please. An action plan for dementia requires political will. Politics not in that routine sense, but politics in terms of all of us coming together as a society and as a community. Sir, being our leader, I would like to request you to declare dementia as a public health priority in Karnataka by pressing on this button. Can I have that, please? Thank you very much, sir. I would now like to request you to continue the process.
ಇವತ್ತು ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಒಂದು ಮಹತ್ವವಾದಂಥ ದಿನ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಬಯಸ್ತೇನೆ. ಡಿಮೆನ್ಷಿಯಾ ಆಕ್ಷನ್ ಪ್ಲಾನಿನ ಏನೊಂದು ಡ್ರಾಫ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಇವತ್ತು ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಡಿಮೆನ್ಷಿಯಾ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಅಲೈಯನ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತು ನಿಮ್ಹಾನ್ಸ್ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯವರೆಲ್ಲ ಸೇರಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಇಲಾಖೆ ಜೊತೆ ಈ ಒಂದು ಡಿಮೆನ್ಷಿಯಾ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಒತ್ತನ್ನು ನೀಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಅವರೇನು ಪ್ರಸ್ತಾಪ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಆ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಸ್ತಾವನೆಯನ್ನು ನಾನು ಮತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ಆಯುಕ್ತರು ರಣದೀಪ್ ಅವರು ಇವತ್ತು ಅದನ್ನು ಸ್ವೀಕಾರ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಡಿಮೆನ್ಷಿಯಾ ಒಂದು ಸಾರ್ವಜನಿಕ ಆರೋಗ್ಯ ಆದ್ಯತೆ ಅಂತಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಘೋಷಣೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಹೆಲ್ತ್ ಪ್ರಯಾರಿಟಿ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಇವತ್ತು ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಅನೌನ್ಸ್ ದಟ್ the dementia is going to get focus in our department. ನಮ್ಮ ನಿಮ್ಹಾನ್ಸಿನ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಪ್ರತಿಮಾ ಅವರು ಅನೇಕ ವಿಷಯಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತನಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಶಿ ಸ್ಪೋಕ್ ಆನ್ ಮೆನಿ ಇಶ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಕೋರ್ಸ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ರಾಧಾ ಅವರು ಕೂಡ ಇದೊಂದು ಆಗೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಮೂಲವಾದಂಥ ಒಂದು ಕಾರಣಕರ್ತ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ರಾಧಾ ಅವರು ಅಂತಲೇ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಶಿ ಟುಕ್ ದ ಇನಿಷಿಯೇಟಿವ್ and coordinated with all the other stakeholders. And today, I think this happening today, whatever is that we have announced, I think she is also hugely responsible for it. And we heard the wing commander also speak very eloquently with passion about his own experience. Adrinda dementia ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಗಮನ ಕೊಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗಿ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇದೆ, ಅದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅನುಮಾನನೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. Because on one side the lifespan of our people, of our population is increasing. So more the older people, more the chances of dementia patients. So now almost it's around 70 years, the average lifespan of a person living in India. So naturally, since this disorder or disease or whatever we may call it, it starts at an older age, naturally the numbers also are going to keep on increasing. And the percentage of old people in India also is going to keep on increasing because our fertility rates also are decreasing, and we are slowly getting into the category eventually which we will reach, where older people will comprise the larger percentage of population of the overall population. What China is facing today, I think India is maybe 15-20 years behind. So this has to become a priority now. If you start working on this now, ಈಗ ಶುರು ಮಾಡದೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಮುಂದೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ತಯಾರಾಗಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. So we have to start working on this now so that we start setting up the required programs, the required institutions, the required support mechanisms, so that we build it up over the period of next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. So that we can, at that point of time, we are enabled to be able to handle people who suffer from these kind of disorders, like Alzheimer's and other dementia related diseases. So hopefully at some point of time there could be some cure eventually, with good research and with more support from all governments. If some solution or some way of treating this effectively comes, there is nothing like it. But if it doesn't come, then we have to be prepared for that eventuality also. So this is definitely a priority now for us, and whatever was part of the draft action plan that Dr. Pratima Murthy ji has announced, I think most of them I can say are something that we are already working on, and something that we can immediately, without any hesitation, accept those proposals in the draft action plan. You have said that we have to declare dementia as a public health priority. First point we've done. So, dementia awareness and friendliness, idar ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಖಂಡಿತ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ಜಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಎಫರ್ಟ್. ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್, NGOs, ಅದರ್ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಅವೆಲ್ಲ ಸೇರಿ ಇದನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ಲಿ ಇದನ್ನ ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಬೋದು. ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ there is no issue on this at all. Dementia risk reduction. So this is something I think which we can play a big role in trying to identify, find out who are the possible people who may be suffering from dementia. So trying to screen the population. So we are evolving a program in our own department now, which we have called it ಗೃಹ ಆರೋಗ್ಯ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಕರೀತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಖ್ಯ ಉದ್ದೇಶ ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ಏನು ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನಿಂಗು ತಪಾಸಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಜನರ ಹತ್ರ ನಾವು ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ಜನ ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಬರೋದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ನಾವು ಜನರ ಹತ್ರ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು, ಅವ್ರ ಮನೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು, ಅವರ ತಪಾಸಣೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಆ ತಪಾಸಣೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ we will check for various factors which can be easily identified, whether it is diabetes, whether it is hypertension, whether it is certain forms of cancer, whether they're having other issues regarding eye, ear, all those things which can be easily asked and found out, and certain simple tests ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. So I think if we can prepare, because we are going to launch this in 8 districts where we want to cover the entire population, house to house. So if our people are trained, ನಮ್ಮ ಯಾರು ಆಶಾ ಕಾರ್ಯಕರ್ತರು ಮತ್ತೆ ನಮ್ಮ CHOಗಳು ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಟ್ರೈನಿಂಗ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಯಾವ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಅವ್ರು ಕೇಳಬೇಕು, ಏನು ಕೇಳಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಅದು ಗೊತ್ತಾಗೋದಕ್ಕೆ. ಅದು ವಯಸ್ಸಾಗಿರೋರು ಇದ್ರೆ ಮೊದಲನೇ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ, ಎರಡನೇ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಬಹುಶಃ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಮರು ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ ಅಥವಾ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಆ ಥರ ಸಿಂಪ್ಟಮ್ಸ್ ಇದೆಯಾ, ಅದನ್ನ ಎರಡನೇ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ. ಆ ಥರ ಯಾವುದು ಐಡಿಯಲಿ ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ ದ ರೈಟ್ ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ದಟ್ they need to ask, so that at least they can find out if anybody is having certain symptoms which connect to dementia. Because normally what happens when someone grows old in our society, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮರು ಆದ್ರೆ ಅವರು ವಯಸ್ಸಾಯ್ತು ಮರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀವಿ. We don't think that it is a problem. It's a natural process of when you get old, all these things are going to happen. So but we don't realize that these things are something which may deteriorate and which requires a lot of future care. So definitely, I think we can take this on board, and we can make this part of a program immediately. We'll be rolling it out soon. So, and along with that, we can educate our people, train them, and train our people who are working in the department at the primary, taluka, district level. So we can train all of them to be more aware of all these things, so that it can help in the diagnosis and treatment also. I think the biggest issue with dementia is support. I think because ultimately the whole thing boils down to this: care. ಆರೈಕೆ ನಾವು ಹೇಗೆ ಕೊಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಅದರಲ್ಲೇ ಇರುವಂಥದ್ದು ಈ ಒಂದು ಕಾಯಿಲೆಗೆ. That is the most important aspect of this, and how we can support the caregiver. Home-based caregivers or outside the home caregiver. ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೆಂಗೆ ನಾವು ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗಿಯೂ ನಾವು will have to look at it, work on it. What is the model that we have to evolve? Because ultimately, for a government, there are priorities in terms of expenditure, in terms of resource allocation. So how much of funds we can allocate for this? How much funds we can allocate for the giving some sort of a support in terms of, ultimately it comes down to financial support. There's not that you require medicine, but the main biggest factor for people who look after dementia patients, especially for middle class, lower middle class, poor families, is that they cannot handle that. ಅವ್ರ ಕೆಲಸ ಬಿಡಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಹೇಳ್ದಂಗೆ ರಾಧಾ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳ್ದಂಗೆ ಮನೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ತೊಂದರೆ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಅವ್ರ ಜಗಳ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಮತ್ತೆ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕೆ ಕಷ್ಟ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ultimately it comes down to, one is the support, that as that empathy, sahanabhuti-inda nodkoltakkantadu. That empathy should be there in the caregiver, that I have to look after the person. Along with that is the financial strain which they face, because they have to give up some job, or they have to get into a part-time job, or something. All these things happen. So how do we give that financial support will become the key aspect to this caregiving, along with training the caregivers. So if you start giving support financially, then caregivers will start coming into this, so that they will take it up as a profession only. There are many people who will be interested, who can take it up as a job for them, that I want to do this job, and if I know that there is some income coming in, I can do it. So this is something that we need to work on. Doctor, I can't just immediately say it, because it is something that how we can involve government, non-government, and other organizations to create some sort of a fund for this, which can help in bearing the cost of this support system. So ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗಿಯೂ we'll have to work on this, and the rest of it is all, I think, supporting research, supporting getting the right information system. Already we are working on so many things with the department, the brain health initiative and district mental health programs, and all of these kinds of things are going on. So ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗೋಣ. So definitely we will ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗಿ ಗಮನ ಹರಿಸ್ತೀವಿ. We will give attention to all this, and we will keep the focus on dementia, because it requires the society to become aware. ಜನರಿಗೆ ಅವೇರ್ನೆಸ್ ಬರಬೇಕು. ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಜನರಿಗೆ ಇದು ಏನು ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಆ ಕುಟುಂಬಗಳಿಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ, if they come to know what is happening, what is the situation, and they should accept the reality also. ಏನು ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲದೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, ರಿಯಾಲಿಟಿ ಗೊತ್ತಿರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ಒನ್ಸ್ ಯು ನೋ ದಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ರಿಯಾಲಿಟಿ, ಇದಾಗಿದೆ, ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ತರ ಹೇಗೆ ಅವರ ಇರುವಂತ ಆಯುಷ್ ಏನಿದೆ. ಈಗ ಅಲ್ಟಿಮೇಟ್ಲಿ ಒನ್ಸ್ ಯು ಗೆಟ್ ಡಿಮೆನ್ಷಿಯಾ, you know that this is eventually going to be threatening to you. So how do we handle that? And how do you make that person's life as enjoyable as possible? The remaining part of their life, how do you make it as enjoyable as possible? I think sadhya. And keep them active. Ultimately, one is what is good for the heart is what is good for the brain. So whatever the NCD and whatever lifestyle, it is for all diseases, whether hypertension, diabetes, physical activity. But here I think mental activity also becomes part of it. If you are mentally agile, then ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಜನ ನಾವು ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ, you are at the age of retirement, you are 70 years, 75 years ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ, and suddenly if they start doing something in their life, they become even more active. Normal people also, I'm not talking about people with dementia. Those who retire and go back home, they deteriorate. those who don't retire and keep doing something, they remain healthy and active. In fact, Narsim Rai, Pradhan Mantri, he had retired from politics and gone. Suddenly he got the Prime Minister post and people thought he may not be able to handle it. He lasted the full 5 years and worked very efficiently. So, it's an activity of the brain also. So, the mental activity should be there. How do you keep on stimulating that? That people should know. ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರು ಇರ್ತಾರೆ ಅವರು ಅದನ್ನ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು, ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರಬೇಕು. Suppose somebody is partially deaf, if you don't give them that hearing aid, then naturally they become even, the brain activity goes down even more. So then they suffer even more and the deterioration is rapid, more rapid. But if you give them the hearing aid, then the brain is functioning, it's hearing something, it is reacting to something, so the brain is working. So as long as the brain is, mental activity is there, naturally physical and mental both. So ಈ ಅವೇರ್ನೆಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ನಮ್ಮ ಜನರಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಬೇಕಲ್ಲ, ಯಾರು ಕೇರ್ ಗಿವರ್ಸ್ ಗೊತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂತ ಕೇರ್ ಗಿವರ್ಸ್ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಟ್ರೈನ್ ಆ ಇರುವಂತ ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಎಷ್ಟು ಖುಷಿಯಾಗಿದೆ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನನೇ ಇದು. ಸೊ that is the job of the caregiver, that is the job of the people who are their children or their grandchildren who are there, who are living with them. So ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ it requires a systematic program, and we have to create some systems, create literature, create awareness, bring it part of the mainstream discussions wherever it is possible, keep on discussing these issues, and so that people become more and more and more aware of it. So ಅದು ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಖಂಡಿತ ನಮ್ಮ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಕೂಡ ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಸಂಪೂರ್ಣ ನಾನು ನಿಮಗೆ ಭರವಸೆಯನ್ನು ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಇದನ್ನ we will take it up as a major program, and we will involve all our health workers, health professionals, and our department, and across the departments also we will try and educate all other people also. So ಇಷ್ಟು ಹೇಳಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಬಹಳ ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ನಡೆದಿದೆ. I think ಈ initiative I think will be a trendsetter not only for Karnataka but maybe for other states also, and let Karnataka become a model state in dementia care. That is my wish, and I'm sure with the team that we have and with NIMHANS being in Karnataka and so many good people and organizations being in Karnataka, we can definitely achieve that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Public health ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೊಂದು ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. Public health is always fatiguing delays and mortifying disappointments ಅಂತ. But today, I think it's a magical moment today. I think even after just presenting the case, you have almost committed to several of the things, made it possible. Please give a big hand and give a standing ovation for making this commitment to make Karnataka a leader with respect to dementia care. Sir. Thank you very much, sir. As we come to the end of the program, I would now like to request our director to give mementos to our distinguished guests on the stage. I would like to request our Honorable Health Minister to kindly receive this memento on behalf of NIMHANS. Gandhiji said, be the change what you want to see. And one of the last actionable points which Madam presented was, oh sorry, I would like to request our director to give a memento to. Yeah, I just momentarily forgot. Thank you. Gandhiji said, be the change what you want to see. And one of the last action points is in terms of healthy aging. The decade of 2021 to 2030 has been declared by United Nations as the decade of healthy aging. But unfortunately, we need to develop a plan of action for that. So the Center for Public Health and our students are trying to look at collecting opinion as to what is our vision about, what is our agenda, about what should be our mandate looking at healthy aging. There is a board outside. I request all of you to just give your comments, whatever it is, on the board, so that we should be able to look at a participatory decade of healthy aging. I would now like to request Professor B.S. Shankar Narayan Rao, our registrar, to propose the vote of thanks.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. Today it's a momentous occasion in two fronts. So one is most importantly, as our director mentioned, those who cared, it's our responsibility to care them when they become old. So for this momentous occasion, the Honorable Minister for Health and Family Welfare, Shri Dinesh Gundu Rao ji, graced this occasion, and also most importantly, he has declared the dementia as a public health, the priority. So it is always the government of Karnataka which helps in terms of developing the several policies. So initially when more than 50 years back when we started the Bellary model of mental health, now it has become a reality for the entire country. And subsequently district mental health policies and also the national mental health policies have evolved because of the contribution which originated from NIMHANS and subsequently the policy of the rest of the country. The second one, we work very closely with the government of Karnataka. So many of them, many projects, so including the Brain Health Initiative, which has been recently initiated. And we could see the fruits of the Brain Health Initiative, and it has reached into the multiple levels. And that's going to be another best model which we are going to provide to the rest of the country. And the telemedicine and teleconsultation was initiated from NIMHANS many years back, and now that has become a reality. It's a flagship program of Government of India, the Telemanas program. So that way the NIMHANS and Government of Karnataka, we work together developing the specific models, and they become the national models. So in that perspective, I thank our Honorable Minister on behalf of NIMHANS and on behalf of all of us, that the leadership which has been provided by the state government, which is always helpful for us to do. ವಯಸ್ಸಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಹೇಳೋದೇನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮರಳಿ ಅರಳುವುದು ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ವಯಸ್ಸಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಮರಳಿ ಅರಳಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ಆ ಮರಳಿ ಅರಳಬೇಕಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾರು ಅವರ ಕೇರ್ ಗಿವರ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವರ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿಬಿಲಿಟೀಸು ತುಂಬಾ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So it becomes extremely important. Again, you are going to see the life in a very lighter sense. And most importantly, several action plans which has mentioned by the director and also endorsed by our Honorable Minister. So I feel that, which each one of us, we experience that the aged parents or the aged individuals in our families, they are very comfortable at home. So probably we should think in terms of providing some kind of a daycare facility. So when we are going for a job, you take them and then they will have a wonderful life in a daycare facility, and then you bring them back. So they are more comfortable at home. So that is very, very challenging as well. What is most important, critical, is that the caregivers, the kind of the support system which they provide and the kind of the support which they continuously offer, and that is extremely important. As a part of this program, I am very sure that as an action plan, empowering the caregivers, strengthening the healthcare policies, even ASHA workers, then at the primary healthcare center and at the taluka level and at the district health centers. So we have a wonderful team of the health fraternity in the state, and each one of them can be empowered in terms of the different levels of understanding the dementia, Alzheimer's disease, in addition to that many other diseases as well. So on behalf of each one of you, I take this opportunity to profusely thank the entire Department of Health from the Government of Karnataka, headed by Honorable Minister, and also a special thanks to Randeep sir. He is always a support for various activities, and I'm sure that the contribution of Government of Karnataka in association with NIMHANS, several things has moved in miles ahead compared to any other states in the country. And more importantly, Dr. Radha Murthy, she has a great understanding, empathy, commitment, and the leadership, and taking the care for the dementia patients at the grassroots level. So on behalf of each one of us, we thank you profusely, madam. During this occasion, I take this opportunity to thank our Honorable Director, Pratima Murthy, for her leadership and also providing the different kinds of approaches. At NIMHANS is known for a comprehensive treatment regimes, and even for dementia care, we have more than 10 departments. We work together, and a comprehensively how best we could do it. So one is in terms of evolving identifying the disease, the human resource development, treatment regimes, subsequently handholding the caregivers, and recording everything, and doing a wonderful research that's going to translate our healthcare system for the dementia individuals. So on behalf of each one of you, I thank the entire team of NIMHANS for taking the leadership. A special thanks to our deans, Dr. Prabha Chandra, Dr. Esha, both of them. So what is most interesting, and which I have learned a lot today, the Wing Commander Sabarwalji, he himself, having served in the defense, subsequently, he himself has evolved as a counselor, he himself evolved as a caregiver, and more importantly, whatever the difficulties initially he faced to handle, and subsequently he has brought it to the public and educating the public, and he has taken that leadership. On behalf of each one of you, I take this opportunity to thank Sabarwalji as well. And we have an excellent team. So today we'll get to see very few of them, but many of them, they are working in the hospital or in the wards. Dr. Suvarna already is here, Dr. Rajni Patsarthi from the state, and Girish, Jamana, and various heads of the department of nursing department, psychiatric social work, and we have the nursing department, neurology, neurosurgery, psychiatry, physiotherapy, occupational therapy, and whatnot, everything under one roof, and we are working collectively. And I'm very sure that this program is going to take us further, helping the needy patients or the individuals who are suffering with dementia or Alzheimer's disease in particular. So thank you very much. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir. I would request all of you to rise for the national anthem. Jana Gana Mana Adhinayaka Jaya He Bharat Bhagya Vidhata Punjab Sindhu Gujarat Maratha Dravid Utkal Vanga Vindhya Himachala Yamuna Ganga Uchchala Jaladi Taranga Tava Shubha Name Jage Tava Shubha Ashisha Mahe Gahe Tava Jaya Gata Jana Gana Mangala Dayaka Jaya He Bharat Bhagya Vidhata Jaya He, Jaya He, Jaya He, Jaya 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 He. I would request all of you to make way for the dignitaries. Sir, horgade board ide, Dr. Prachet will lead us. Lunch is arranged. I would request all our participants to kindly join us for lunch. It will be served in the dining hall. Our volunteers are here. In case you are not aware, we will guide you there. Thank you one and all. Thank you very much. Jai Hind, Jai Karnataka.